So this is our very first in-club artist trading club video. I'm basically gonna demo doing an artist trading card that's gonna be part of the swap for you guys. So this is video number 1. We're kind of working out our kit on how we do it. Let's come over to our materials place. So over here, I have assorted pre-cut trading card media. I've got watercolor, Bristol, and acrylic. Really, you can do artist trading cards in anything, but today I'm gonna do watercolor because it's easy. I have my Lucas watercolors here. These are economic watercolors. They're like kind of on par with any economy watercolors that you have. And I'm going to do what's called priming them, which is to mist them with water. That gets them all ready and also makes everything all wet. And pull out a card. So May's month is amazing themed, which is exciting. Definitely be sure and go check out the poll that we're going to have for the following month. And we're excited to sort of hear your thoughts and ideas and suggestions as we're going. I pulled out my card here. There really isn't a right or wrong side of the watercolor. And I think what I'm going to do is maybe I'm going to do like a little watercolor dandelion. So I'm going to kind of dot out a little puff here that I think I'm going to want. And a little very light line, right? Stunning hands me. Okay. This is just going to let me know where some of this is going to go. And I'm going to double up. I'm going to layer these two. So there's going to be another little globe here, right? Just a little bit bigger. I'm sort of imagining this out. Now, I'm going to get my very favorite brush, traveling brush. If you've seen me travel. This is the Black Velvet by Silver Brush. They are my very favorite watercolor brush. There are other good watercolor brushes out there. I don't really have a lot of watercolor artists, though, that aren't in resounding agreement that the Black Velvets were pretty good. I am laying down some water to prime for a diluted little wash that I'm going to do here. So watercolors are done in washes and glazes. Washes are wet into wet, and glazes are where the paint is dry and you layer another color over it. And I'm going to grab, I'm notorious for this, I'm going to grab a little of the color that I already have on my palette. Sometimes I feel like that. Sometimes I'm like, man, why am I even worrying about, you know, all these other little colors when I know I'm going to just grab some of the color I have on my palette. I grabbed a little bit of yellow there. I'm going to try to be very bright and cheerful with this and, you know, see where I can take it, you know, color-wise. It's always interesting to see where these things are going to go. I'm letting it encroach into my little globulars just a bit because that's fun for me. Getting into this purpley that they gave me here. And I might come here and pull cooler purple. Purple, that's the word, purple. So you can see I'm leaving some white. The big thing that you guys will find is challenging in watercolors is leaving the white, leaving bits of white here and there so that your watercolors remain strong. Another thing you're going to think about is that you can do subtractive work, which means I can take my brush, pull moisture out of it, and come back and lift back color if I want to. See, I can create this like texture and space. Now I'm going to rinse out my brush, and I'm feeling like in the center I want a little bit of bright yellow, kind of tabbed in the center here. It's going to lighten up. The other thing you expect is that your watercolors will completely lighten up as you're working. You get some brown and some green. That's such a heavy pigment load. I like things to be a little lighter before I ink them in. So I'm just putting down this value of this brownish green. I don't even know what's in this little paint plop. The trick with ATCs is to realize that they are intrinsically charming, I think, as a process. And this is going to be multimedia. I'm actually going to add some ink and some different stuff into this, like you do, to enjoy yourself, you know. Bit right there of this green and yellow. Just trying to be slightly more playful than maybe I am. I'm going to grab this, I'm sure is ultramarine, and I'm going to do a tap. I'm notorious for this. I think I like really sort of loose, expressive watercolors. So, okay. I'm letting that dry for a second. While I'm doing that, I'll talk to you. Things to think about in your artist trading cards is one of the reasons that we reduced the number to 2 is so that it would be manageable, right? Also so that you could spend more time in each piece, right? That you were sending pieces that you were feeling like really you would put yourself into and really personalizing them. Because this goes beyond pen pals. I mean, when you're sending your art, you're sending your heart through the mail, and you're going to be making connections that could possibly last for life. So we wanted to make sure that you weren't kind of on an art treadmill. I know in my practice, I get on an art treadmill, you know, making videos for YouTube. But I have decades of professional art experience, so I'm kind of a stamina for that, whereas new students really honestly can burn out quick. So it's exciting to make artist trading cards, and of course there's other opportunities around the internet to trade, but who more to trade with than Sherpettes, right? We're like the best, we're practically family. So, you know, think about having fun with media, thinking about doing multimedia, thinking about you can do a tutorial in these, you can do anything you want to. Try to keep the guidelines, the themes of the month is just sort of a general like guiding rails. Don't like let them be limiters for you. You know, make sure that you're definitely still using your imagination, because this is the point. I'm letting this dry. See how I touched there with my finger and it wasn't fully dry. I'm gonna actually dab this with my paper towel, which is gonna add a little bit of texture. So once I have that in, I'm going to be thinking about my Dandelion, and I need to find a pen width that I like. That is a pretty good one. And I'm going to drop in the center this fun little spot, and drop in the center this fun little spot. I'm going to make a little line out and then start creating some of these dandelion fluff textures. I'm going to try to imply the shape of it. And that's where my little guidelines, if you're like, what? Put some guidelines there. Honestly, it's so I don't get lost during this point, because this is where I could get completely and totally lost. You know. One of the things that I always liked about artist trading cards is that sometimes in art, small almost plays against you. I gotta do this one here, and I gotta try to really watch that fluff here. The trick will be remembering the implied space that I held with my little dot dots. Trying to make sure that these feel round, because I lost my little dot dots over here. Like you do. You know that happens. The other way I could have done this is I could have, if I used a permanent ink, I could have inked first. I like to change it up from time to time, though. See, I'm just kind of fluffing those out. Bring one on here, fluff, 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 fluff. Keep watching the group. We'll keep trying to drop little videos and little events so that, you know, we're all talking often and enjoying this. I want to pull my stems in. So I'm going to arc this stem down. Give it a little slender taper. Maybe arc that stem down a different way. And then, you know, you can add some delicate little ink work of squiggly, prickly, entertaining, and yet shockingly healthy little dandelion green leaves. I really distrust any salads that have dandelion greens. I like to eat like flowers. I'm up for that. You want to feed me some nasturtiums, that's completely cool. But the bitter of the dandelion greens is often just too much for me. I know they're really good for me. I'll do dandelion tea. See, I'm just adding a little bit of light, delicate ink work. One of the things when you're using pen and pencil or ink is think about the thick and thin values of your lines. Everything matters when you're doing this. So it's going to be a lot about how you express that line value and what you want to do. I'm just trying to make sure that this feels like my little puffs. Now, got to put a little seed there, right? Maybe another little one there. Farther one up, like when it's farther away. So we're just saying that there's some floating in the air. Just make sure that this feels like it's got the puff. I think I'm going to move down a size, if possible, to sign. Because you know me, I'm always thinking about that. This is an 02, so I'm just looking for a smaller. And then I can take this over and write this in the back, and I can say no. Cooney. Hey, John, you know what date it is? Thank you. Okay. 418. Thank you. Oh, well, that's happened now, so only people in the video know. Let's name this. We're so terrible at naming anything. Shockingly embarrassing, actually. I'm going to call this Wildfire. See, I'm being arty. Little hearts. I want to say something positive. All right. So I have a little message, update, a little information about me, the artist. I've got a little crazy overkill sleeve here. Listen, watercolor paintings, they don't need to be varnished or finished in another way. And honestly, the acrylic paintings can just go right in the sleeves. You don't have to stress about it. Now, this is ready for collecting and trading. Look at that. So sometimes weeds and flowers are amazing. So that's what was my thinking on that theme. I was like trying to think what's like very humble and very regular, but yet is really kind of magical. And there's nothing to me more magical than wishes, and dandelions are like wish makers. Could ever weed have put more beautiful energy into the universe? I hope you're enjoying the membership club. Love you very much. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And I want to see you in the club. John, say hi to everybody really soon. Thank you for being part of our beta. All right.